close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon turn us to thousands. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. See the horizon turn us to thousands, and we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon turn us to thousands.
Team ban. Radiant team ban. Dire team ban. 10 seconds remaining.
For our second series of the day, it's going to be between TNC Predator and Boom Esports. It is MLP Dota and John Expired. John, you look like you're concentrating on something very hard, sir. What's going on?
I'm just wondering how this one will go. TNC, they've had a bit of an up and down start. The past few months haven't been great. It's kind of keeping up with what happened in Birmingham for them. It wasn't the best showing for TNC. Boom isn't any easier than a Droid. Although, to be fair, TNC did beat them out in a different league just before. They did manage to get that 2-0. So perhaps TNC can do that again. I think Boom should know what's coming up. It looked like in that series, the key was Gabby's Ricky. That was the constant pick among those two games. We'll see whether or not TNC will be allowed to pick that up. Of course, you have to consider the fact that they're subbing in Febby right now. It looked like Tim's had to kind of be out for this game, so we'll see if that really affects TNC too much.
Well, that could be problematic. Tim's, I dare say Tim's, it's that one play that really starts the fight for TNC, right? Like, KP isn't necessarily the guy that initiates, even though he is the pos 3 player. He's more the kind of guy that makes the team fights very chaotic. But it's really Tim's that's the one that really gets that first shot in to the other team to allow TNC to rush in and start the team fight. So I haven't seen Febby play in a long time, personally. Yeah. I don't know what to expect from Febby. I'm sure he's very active scene, of course, but we'll find out very, very soon. This is going to be a completely different kind of TNC we're going to watch for this game up against Boom Esports. You were mentioning to me, however, you had some interesting stats about TNC versus Boom. Now, you did say that their last matchup, TNC 2-0 Boom.
Yeah, that was the
stats you had.
Beyond that matchup, TNC has not beat Boom this year. So they've only won that one series. And that's 3 other series where Boom just went 2-0 for the most part. So Boom still has a historic advantage in that sense. It looks like they have had TNC's number the past year. And again, we'll see whether or not TNC's allowed to go back to that Gabby Ricky. That was the key for them. It does look like Boom is shaking up their draft a bit. The Beastmaster is something we've seen them run on FBZ quite a fair bit, but the Mirana is not something we've seen Boom usually dip into. So they picked that up for themselves. They should have a stable way of finding EXP for that hero. And of course, they've got some great timings for aggression. Once you have that Moonlight Shadow, you can just go around the map trying to look for a pickoff.
I mean, the Mirana is very, very strong in this current meta. I'm sure Boom are going to be able to play that to quite a success. TNC, they did start off with the Earthshaker pick. Generally speaking, that would be the Tim's hero, but I suppose Febby's going to be the pos 4 here? We don't even know what position he's going to play.
I think it's likely he's going to be 4. I believe that was the position he played when he was in Genesis, right? Like when we were casting Genesis, he was on that pos 4 role. Right. So it's probably Febby Shaker. Do you see the NP coming out here as well? So there's some flexibility now. I think it's still kind of open whether or not you want the Shaker or the NP to kind of be the one running around. Although we have seen a tendency for the Nature's Prophet on the offlane.
Right.
So we'll see just how much they can get from KP in that case. It's one of those offlaners we see often, right? You just have great push potential. You've got great presence on the map for rotations, and that can play against the aggression Boom wants. So there are certain things now kind of lining up for TNC. We'll see how much more they build up with this draft. It's not the strongest opening, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got to be frank as well. When I think of Nature's Prophet, I don't necessarily think of KP straight away. He does play the hero. It's just not one of his signature heroes. It's not one of the heroes you see him on very often. Which does really make me feel like it may be the March pos 5 Prophet. I don't know if that really suits the meta though right now. You know, every other time we do see the Prophet, it is in the pos 3 or even the pos 1 at some points. But then again, it's also not a very Gabby-like hero. So more than likely going to be pos 3 or pos 5. Boom Esports, they will happily respond with the Winter Wyvern now. not really much reason for the Wyvern, I would say, John. I suppose you've got some nice D push there with the Spinner Blast, and Winter's Curse is always pretty darn good. TNC, however, will not hesitate. They will go into the Grimstroke, and now we know that that will definitely be an off-lane Prophet.
Yeah, so it's the core Prophet, which, again, you mentioned it, but it's not exactly the most KP disruptive hero, but we've seen a lot of teams favor that. We'll see how much they can maximize. I think with the Grimstroke, though, you are building up a little bit more in that presence. We've seen a lot of plays with, say, running a Treant up with the Inkswell, and that is pretty annoying to deal with. So you've got that option now from TNC. Boom with the Winter Wyvern, I think, is still pretty solid, even though you don't have the best of like heroes to punish for that. It just gives Boom a lot of early aggression that we have seen them favor. Like, the Boom Esports just loves running at you, loves forcing fights. You've got presence with a Winter Wyvern, you've got great team fight. The only issue is, say, something like easy stuns coming out. There aren't much. You're depending on 2 ults and an arrow, and that is something TNC can kind of abuse there.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Like, unless this Mirana plays like an absolute god, they are going to have to really rely on that roar from the Beastmaster and the Curse from that Wyvern. Because there used to be that build with Mirana a couple months ago, I think it was, where you just built straight into the Yule Scepter.
Ooh.
And Boom Esports now, into the ring.
Dire team back.
I know what you're thinking, John. He better have the... it better be a Skeleton King we're going to see.
Oh, yeah.
But TNC Predator goes straight into the PA. They're not bothering with that POS 1 Ricky. Is it a good PA game, though?
A good PA game, you pick it into Winter Wyvern. I don't think that's ever going to be good. It's always going to be a lot more difficult for the targets you jump. You have to worry about the Cold Embrace blocking your damage. You have to worry about the Winter's Curse. And PA up against Raid King, it's not the best in terms of burning early mana. So there is a way for the Raid King to kind of leverage that. We'll see how TNC builds, right? Like, we've seen Gabby opt for Battle Furies a lot. I think this is a game for it. This is not too bad. You're going to be clearing out Skeletons. You're clearing out Beastmaster summons. There is value in a slower PA game. You will just be giving time for the Raid King to build up, though, if you go that route. Like, you don't tend to see a Battle Fury Raid King for the most part. The slower build is like a Radiance, which is more of a fighting anywhere. So regardless of what Boom decides to go for, they will be online a bit faster in that Raid King than you'd expect the PA to be.
It's going to be a question as well of what kind of build the PA goes into, right? Because do you really want the Battle Fury this game? We've seen Gabby do it, though. That's the thing. Like, last time we saw TNC play PA, I believe we comment. Wait a minute. Tide Hunters picked up. I don't see a mid laner here. So it's either a Tide off lane or a Tide mid. It could be a PA mid or a PA POS 1. And so who's off lane? Like, it must be the Tide Hunter, right? It could be a mid Tide, but for what reason? I don't know who's...
Yeah, I don't think it's great down mid. Then Boom closes out with Necrophos as well. So there's a lot here to deal with that PA. I think just yes, Dreamocell has it. Yeah, it's a point, but okay, so it's KP on the Tide. It's NP mid isn't too bad. Like, that's something we've seen before. Well, rarely, very, very rarely before, but it can kind of work. I don't know how much value you're getting from it, though, up against a Necrophos. Like, Mikoto should just have free last hits there. There's really not much you can do.
So mid Prophet. That's a new one. We've seen plenty of off-lane Prophet, plenty of safe-lane Prophet, plenty of support Prophet. I have not seen the mid Prophet yet. How much it's going to do for Armel, I'm very intrigued. I haven't had the pleasure of seeing Armel on this hero. Febby will indeed be playing the POS 4 Earthshaker, so fair enough. He just directly swaps out with Tim's.
Yeah.
I've got to go ahead and say on a whim, I think Boom Esports draft is much better. But
oh yeah.
Then again, I'm saying that without really knowing what the strategy here is for TNC. I don't know what they're up to. it just seems very all over the place. Now, mind you, it's a very early style lineup, and they fight very early into Boom Esports. So, coming from that series where they were up against Adroit, where Adroit was just running at them constantly, at least this time they are going to be able to fight back, right? They won't have to wait too long to have those big ultis up. They have a Prophet who can TP constantly. They have a Tidehunter Ravage. It's always going to be... But whether it's work up against Boom Esports, that's a whole different question entirely.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue I have with this faster draft coming out from TNC is that, yeah, they've got earlier ults. Cooldown. It's a cooldown on Echo Slam. Those are pretty long. How can you beat the one true Skeleton King, Mike? You can't.
Can't do it. And here we are. We're going to harvest some tributes, sir. Right? It's a professional game, but we're still harvesting some souls. Well, see, Dreamer Soul, he wants all those heroes apparently. I don't know how this harvesting thing works, John. I haven't got this Arcana because, you know, I'm broke, unlike you apparently. But it seems as though he needs all the heroes. Say that?
Yeah, I think you need 100 unique heroes to kill, so that's basically the majority. It's not going to be an easy time for Dreamer, like we were talking about TNC's draft having holes. You are still running a Wraith King up against a Tide. That is something KP can really leverage, and it's wrong.
It's unplayable, Valve. You got to change this. This is very incorrect.
Oh boy.
So anyway, you were saying the Skeleton King up against KP.
Yeah, it's, you know, the Tide can just really slow down that pace. Kezcute will have to really provide a strong distraction here. But once you have level 3 in KP, it gets a little bit tougher for Dreamocell to find that free farm he would like.
KP's already going to take a bit of harass here, but we'll actually lose half his HP out of that, surprisingly enough, just from that Uptick burn. I believe that was a 2-for-2 trade on the bounties, and it was. Boom managed to find both bottom bounty runes. But yeah, I do agree, it should be somewhat of a struggle here for the Skeleton King to find some farm up against KP's Tide. How much of a struggle though is a different story entirely, and I love the fact that Peppy goes to block. Not something you see so often. You usually see only one Fisher block on that creep wave, but going for the double block like that is going to give KP a really good start.
Yeah, and that's really going to be important for TNC. KP to be in a position to slow down Dreamocell's farm. We've seen Wraith Kings play from behind. It's not the best. Like, their jungle farm is alright, but start to lose the push potency when you have to use those skeletons to clear out camps instead.
At least you do have that option though. Like Dreamocell, even if you have this bad lane matchup, will always have that secondary source of income. But look at KP being so aggressive right now. Nice Fisher out from Febby, but it won't quite block Dreamocell in. Had it done so, that may have actually been a KP. Dreamocell will at least get his salve off and be perfectly fine. The Dreamocell will have to be very wary, even of the Gush. That minus armor and slow is quite detrimental to this hero.
Yeah, it's really just not the easiest time. I think if you compare that to our PA down bot, you are seeing a little bit more coming out in the FBZ.
Yeah, he might be dead right now. You have that Blink Inkswell combination. FBZ does die. March the one to take the kill on the Grimstroke. But it's a decent start here for TNC, and that's really one thing we didn't really mention in that draft stage, John. Last game you had an Earth Shock into an Inkswell. This time you have a Blink Strike into an Inkswell.
Yeah, it's still plenty potent. It comes online really strong in the lane, and FBZ, even if he's on this Beastmaster, which can win out, I don't think it's going to be very easy with the presence of that Grimstroke. There's only so much you can expect from Hyde to pull that pressure off, and it's not going to be that easy here.
It's that mid lane as well. It's the one lane we haven't really talked about at all yet. It's Armel versus Mikoto. Necrophos versus Nature's Prophet. I never thought I'd see the day that I'd see these two heroes in the mid lane. it's almost guaranteed neither of these heroes will die.
Nah, definitely not. They're not going to be looking to play too aggressively. I think the one advantage Armel has is that he could perhaps dip into his camps easier, so he can accelerate his farm just a bit more, and you can control the waves with those chains. Whereas Mikado, he's going to have to spam the Death Pulse if he wants to clear out the wave, which...
In trouble, Ingswell does connect Gabby right behind him with another dagger to the back. FBZ trying to run away, but he's running out of regen, and he is going to die once again to Gabby. Still Hyde, going to try and get the trade here on the march, but he has to be careful not to die himself. Gabby throws out another dagger with the Green Strike march. As the stroke of fate, Hyde trying to leap away, but that is his last leap charge, and Gabby, he can keep chasing for this. It may be a double, and it will be. Gabby on the PA just being relentless, and Hyde visioning on trying to get that Mirana, trying to get that Grimstroke kill. Eventually he does find it because March does deny himself off to the tower, but that is not great news for Boom.
It definitely isn't. It's a really, really hard lane for Boom and the bot. FBC is not slowing down, not really putting a dent in Gabby's farm, and it should give our PA a bit of a faster start. We don't quite know yet what Gabby's going for. He still just has the phase boots queued up, so it could still be a Battle Fury game, and as long as the timing's good, I don't think it's too bad. Like, you get some decent wave clear and just a lot more farming time. The Raid King at some point does taper off, so the PA should be able to take advantage of that, as long as you don't lose your towers too fast.
Top lane, Kescute could be in trouble, though Febby doesn't go for the Fisher. Of course, Kescute has the Arctic Burn, so he'll always just be able to fly Fisher. But Febby will be allowed to go ahead and take both top bounty runes. Hyde will do the exact same thing.
Strange to say, Radiant's middle tower
These static lanes will remain very static. Apart from that bot lane, of course, where there was some action going on. But it looks like Hyde wants to change that a bit. He's gone to the mid lane now. Of course, if you land on that arrow, you definitely have that kill potential. Not to mention as well, we are going to see the level 6 just come up on Makoto, so Hyde has perfect timing right now. He's gone for that nice tree line where you won't really see the arrow to the last second and after. He will take right to the face, and that is a guaranteed kill. Perfectly played from Hyde.
Radiant's middle tower is
They
under attack.
pretty good punishment out in mid. I think this is going to just put a bit of a dent in our Melt's initial farm. They do drag Febby out, so this is freeing up some space up top. I'm sure Dreamocell will appreciate a little bit more breeding room to find his farm.
Febby's in
Later here in this game, so that your PA can bypass that if you are going to go for that greedier sort of Battle Fury build. If your NP has it, you don't need it. You can start farming for other items. Maybe you go for a Diffusal in this case. Maybe you go for a Manta to dodge stuns in this case for the PA. Because once you're pinned down by the Wraith King stun, it can be a bit devastating. So there are a few more options for Gabby if they go with a physical NP in this case. Although it looks like Armel is saving up for the Blade Mail we see a lot of mid-cores go for, just for the stats for now.
That's fair enough. It's very, very sad to go for the plate mail right now. It's just such a great item to have in that mid lane.
Being attacked like nobody's business.
It's fairly standard for the next profit to go pick up the shovel, sir. Leave that
Radiant's
alone.
courier has been slain. Radiant's
Bot lane,
middle
Hyde,
tower
trying to be
is under
disruptive
attack.
here up against March and
Fire's
Gabby.
top tower is under attack.
Does now hit that level 4 mark on
I repeat
Mirana.
myself?
Making his way in. He does have that level
Strange to
6.
say, Radiant's middle tower is under
You
attack.
definitely always want to just try and get an immediate roar off if you can, if you are playing the Beastmaster. Even if it is just on March, you just want to have to commit it and get a kill.
Must I
But he
repeat
doesn't really
myself?
find the opportunity, and he will just go back into the lane. That means Hyde's going to roam back into the mid lane now.
Tower is under
Thing is,
attack.
Armel isn't around, but
Radiant's
we do have a TP coming in from Febby.
I have no reason
So you could go ahead and secure an easy Earthshaker kill if you so wish. Febby going to be disrupted here with Hyde. Dakota won't even bother. And while all that's been happening, up at the top lane, they do manage to take the T1 tower as Armel
nice
gets
arrow.
the rotation. Arrow does connect, and Reaper Sight will finish off the kill on Debbie.
Yeah, it's a great trade for Boom. Giving up that top tier 1 for the mid tier 1 is most certainly a win. The kill on top of that is a nice bonus as well. And this does start to give a bit of control for TNC up top. You can see KP going deep into the jungle. They've got some nice wards out as well. So
Run away. Shouldn't have lived through that. There was an arrow out by Hyde, but it just completely missed. And March, surprisingly enough, will walk away.
yeah, just a bit of a missed opportunity. Not the easiest time to burst when Reaper's sight is down. So you are down a piece of control, though. I suppose now that FBZ's around, you should have the hold to really clean up some heroes if you find them.
He's still looking for that roar attempt. He's chasing down March. Gabby will show himself now. The blur will wear off. The is going to be there as well. They don't have Reapers, but they should have enough damage. But no, they don't. Maybe gets the fish up. There's the Ravage from KP into the Ingswell on Makoto. He's in big trouble. He will end up going down. Now FBZ, does he get out? He does. They didn't have any stuns off cooldown to cancel that TP off. But you found a huge pickup on that Necrophos. And TNC looking much better than their previous series.
Yeah, it's a lot more activity on the map for them. They are finding some key pickoffs. The one hero they really haven't punished is Dreamocell. So you are looking at a fairly free-farmed Great King, but you could argue the same with Gabby. He's just been left to farm up. Again, he is going for that Battle Fury build in this case. So there is going to be a lot more farming for him, but I don't think it's a massive issue. Again, Boom's draft is the one that wants to play a bit faster, so TNC could probably just be perfectly fine taking it slow.
First, going to be the into the arrow, of course, a very old combination to have. With that, the Star 4 out from high, but Gabby is actually speedier than you'd expect. He turns around now, Kensuke with the Soul Fight on top of him, will end up dying. March gets the kill with the Inkswell. I mean, you'd expect they'd be able to find that kill with the Wyvern Marana, but even that arrow, just not going to be enough.
To extreme violence.
No. They staggered that out perfectly, so the damage from the arrow didn't go through, and they really just didn't wait for the curse to almost go off before committing in. That does cost them. The two supports aren't enough to clean up. You're gonna need a core there as well, though their mid tower is melting fairly quick.
It is. No, this is what he's good at. Sun going to fly out. Deny attempt not going to be there. Dream Assault, if you want to keep fighting, he doesn't have Reincarnate skilled up right now. So it may not be the time for Dream Assault to get involved, and he is still trying to just farm towards that Radiance build on the Skeleton King. And with that, TNC, understanding this Radiance is being built, will start taking over that dire side jungle.
Yeah, they've got the wards, they've got the map control. They would have loved the gold, but Dreamcell somehow managed to find that deny. Easy transition to top, though.
Bot lane, however, Debbie ends up dying, but it won't matter if you find that top tier 2 tower. Problem is, Makoto does TP in on the Necrophos, and that'll stop any form of push happening. Does have the Reaper Scythe up as well, so you have to be very careful about going into that Necrophos for a team fight. So they will rotate. KP now just going to farm up the mid lane. This is all just a patience game for Boom. They understand they can't actually fight without that Radiance on the Skeleton King. And Dream Assault, slowly but surely, is getting to that Sacred Relic soon.
Yeah, it's almost there, and that should be up before the Battle Fury of Gabby, so there's going to be a big window for Boom to have a bit of an advantage. They're just taking it slow, split pushing where they can. FBC doesn't quite have enough farm in there.
Well, Ravage has to be committed. Definitely worthwhile for that Beastmaster kill. The Inksword just was not going to stun him in time to cancel the TP. Quick thinking though from FBZ, understanding with that TP he could at least force out a Ravage before he dies.
Yeah, it's again a bit of a down period for TNC when they expend that spell. Gonna be 2 minutes at least until you see a big engagement, and that just gives free time for Dreamocell to continue to work towards that Radiance.
That might be the idea though from TNC, right? Like we know that Dreamersoul's not going to want to fight right now. In fact, most of Boom aren't willing to fight at the moment. So just commit the Ravage because we're not going to need it anyway. I don't think they mind about that cooldown. That one anyway.
Nah. It's still... You take any kill, it's still a courier finishing off, and FBZ has been slowed down by a substantial factor. He's still saving up for his first Necronomicon. It's not the fastest pace we've seen coming out from a Beastmaster, so the potency of the push is not quite there yet. It's going to take a while for them to further pressure those tier 2s.
Boom are just going to continue to take their time. Here's the Radiant resting out Dreamersoul.
Under attack.
Of course, it's not like the farming's over after that, but you can at least get involved. But we do see Moonlight Shadow coming out. FBZ does have the Roar available here. Makoto is going to be right behind him, and even the Mirana is going to take the outpost while they're there. But March understands there's more than one hero around, and he will just back out of that bot lane. And it looks like they are going to make a chase up a top lane where Kescue is just going to be able to TP out on the Wyvern.
Yeah, it's
again, they're desperately trying to push right now, but it's just not really. There's not really many openings.
Yeah, it's just a slow game from both sides. Again, you've got just a lot of heroes that need farm from Boom. Same thing going on with TNC. It is going to be the BKB right after that Battle of Fury for Gabby. So he just wants to finish the Fury and jump in, take control in the fights. Once you have that BKB up, you only need to worry about FBZ. And that is still a bit of an issue, but if they can blow him up first, then it's an easy cleanup for that PA.
Yeah, I think it's just confidence. Even with the Roar, it just may not be enough. Bot lane, speaking of that Roar, it will be committed just for the kill onto March, and they do eventually find it. Took a bit longer than they would have hoped for sure, but a kill. Now it's onto that bottom tier 2 tower, but their top tier 2 is being pushed in by Armel. And this is the real strength of TNC's draft. So here's the Winter's Curse coming in, arrow to follow up straight off the cave. In fact, no, it ended up hitting Febby. They do kill off Kescue in return though, but it looks like TNC are no longer interested in continuing this team fight. You do still have the Ravage. If you want to turn around, TNC would rather hold it for now.
Under attack.
And, in all fairness, with Gabby having the Battle Fury, of course he just wants to keep farming. He doesn't want to fight until he has that BKB on. But you do have a Radiance now on Dreamersoul.
Yeah, this is the point where the Wraith King's presence can't really be ignored. He's just going to constantly burn you down throughout his 2 lives, and there's nothing from TNC to drain that mana away. So even without that level 20 talent, Dreamersoul should be guaranteed 2 lives every single engagement. And of course, the moment he starts showing up in lane, he can start to commit the skeletons to a tower. So there can be a push that can come out from Boom.
Now he's just going to keep farming up to try and get that Silver Edge. With that Radiance, you do escalate and farm quite a lot in this raid.
I've never seen Radiant's structures looking so Radiant's
well, TNC, still with that Ravage, still with the Echo, will smoke up.
Radiant's
Love to run down to that bot lane and trying to take that big team fight right now, but Makoto gonna break the smoke there on Febby. KB meanwhile just running up to the top lane. So instead of taking a big team fight, they want to try and get that tier 2 trade. Only thing is, Luda's already down that tier 2 bot tower, and Armel is still trying to work on the top tier 2. And boom, Moonlight Shadow pop trying to fight the mid lane now. They know where Febby is, he's right underneath an Observer Ward. A roll will come out, followed up by an easy arrow, and that's going to be a guaranteed kill onto Febby. They still haven't found that tier 2 tower at the top lane. They're still trying to get there. Kescue has been delaying things as best as possible, and now with the Winter's Curse he can set up here onto Armel. He's holding out for now. Orchid is there on Armel, so he'll delay things quite a bit. FBZ doesn't have the Roar. They'll throw it for KP, however. Arrow is going to be there. Crack and Chill, however, will purge the arrow up, but it will not purge Reaper Scythe off, and an immediate smoke straight after.
Yeah, I like the aggression coming out from Boom. They know they've got a slight advantage. They've got the time now without the Tide and the Ravage. They just go straight to the Roche Pit.
It's not going to take them very long to do it either. It's a very, very fast process. I imagine they'll probably just go to the skeleton again. Yeah, bring us all 3 lives to him.
Yeah, just perfect. It gets a bit hard to deal with the Raid King. I think at this point, TNC will have to try to ignore him, but you can't ignore Skeleton King, who does have the Radiance. Like, you're just going to be burned down. It's always going to be an issue.
But Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
A bit of a shame as well, Febby still working towards that Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker.
Dire's bottom tower.
Right, he's got the Philosopher's Stone to speed things up a little bit. We are approaching that 20-minute mark now. He definitely wants that up ASAP.
Not in a good way. Surely
It's almost like they're buying king space at the moment to just try and farm that up.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Radiant's top tower is under attack.
He's in trouble here.
And not in a good way.
Currently stalked and Hawk will scout him out farming those ancients. Gonna be perfect. It does connect straight after the ancients go down, but you don't have the backup there behind. So he can't really make the jump in, and Makoto had Reaper Sight in 5 seconds, but the timing didn't quite align.
It's a bit of a shame. Would have been a nice kill to find before Gabby finishes up the BKB, which I do believe he will have up and running soon. So the PA has a lot more presence in these fights. Should be able to stand there and just get all the damage out as long as FBZ doesn't get the roar off. So TNC is starting to shape up into fighting form. KP.
Jumped on by those units of FBZ. He's still a very, very tanky target.
Dire's top tower is under
They
attack.
won't quite make the jump.
Must I repeat myself?
There's that BKB you talked about. Gabby does now have it up, and I imagine TNC will probably go for a smoke now. They also have Febby with the blink. In fact, mid lane, this couldn't be a more perfect moment for TNC if they kept going on Boom, but they don't. Bring this all back up at the right time. They actually were waiting as well for the Beastmaster blink, and now FBZ has that up.
Yeah, you've got all the initiation from both sides now. Can be rather shocking. I think it's on TNC to get the better jump. They've got all the wide AoE spells, they've got the Slam and Ravage. It's much more important for them to land that on a wide area than it is for Boom.
They smoked up, and the Moonlight Shadow is also going to be there. To go into that Radiant side triangle, but TNC did spot out the Moonlight.
I have no reason to lie about
Doing
such
assault
things.
underneath the Sentry Wood right now as well. Gabby is, you know, he's blurred up, but they know exactly where he is. Love to make the jump. There's so many abilities to be worried about here for TNC. Arrow connecting on KB. Again, Cracker shows the save, but with the side down. Now the Ravage does connect on all 4 heroes in the mid lane. He got all as he echo off. So just gonna turn around to lose one life. Gab's gonna go for the fight. So rushes onto the PA and Bring the Soul does harvest Sparks of Soul, and boom. Oh John, it would have been such a big echo. In fact, he didn't even have echo. Why'd he blink in?
Just to break up the fight, perhaps? Scare them off? It doesn't pay off, and you do find Dreamos. It's just that's just his reincarnation, so the Aegis is still up and running. If this lasts long enough, he might end up with 3 lives once more, but Boom do pull back. They don't want to push their luck.
Well, nice block though. Sebi, we're gonna take this around. Makoto is blocked up in there, or maybe he's not. He down the gap. KB gonna have trouble. Arrow connects as well. Gavin jumping in, but not quite finding the target once. Makoto. He'll just walk out of there. You do roar back up in about 5 seconds. Boom. They're going to continue posturing around this mid lane. Seemingly not much to be afraid about here for Boom, but eventually they do decide we'll just back off now. No need to force anything.
Yeah, it's they've got the, I believe, Silver Edge up in Dream Assault, so they've got a way to break through the PA. Although they do lose the Aegis, it does expire. Gonna have to be slightly careful there.
Going to be out. They have caught out Armel and the Prophet. That's a big issue here for Armel. Going down. Sprout is there with the TP, but they have the axes. And you know, John, this mid Prophet, it's not working out great.
No, it's really not. And with this kind of build, he does have some pickoff. Oh.
Top lane. They found that is Makoto, but he just fills up all the way to full HP in the Ghost Route. As the Reaper side, Gabby trying to beat KP and get out of there. Bring the sword right behind him. TP is out. There's the Winter's Curse from Kesku, just perfect. And they taunt in front of him.
Oh man.
Reaper side, still nice fish from Gabby. That actually costs him in. Gabby can't blink out of there. Oh, no. And that is another harvest for Dreamcell.
Is under attack.
我是一个没有感情的帅前
Dreamcell is dancing his way to the top Greenway.
This is just not going great for TNC. Febby had to pop his slam there earlier on Mikado, and they don't even find that kill. So they don't have the Echo Slam, they do have the Ravage. This is not the time for TNC to try to find fights. They need to pull back, farm up a bit more, and if Boom is going to force the tower out like this tier 2 top, even if it's the last outer tower without that slam, I don't know if you have enough damage to burn through 2 lives of Dreamosol.
Yeah, couldn't find out. I mean, he hasn't gone for any kind of tanky build right now on that raid team, but he is slowly going to start working towards the AC. Fairly standard stuff for the raid team. We'll just pressure that top tier 2 tower.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Don't see them doing anything about it. He's literally just going to take it free. No protection.
They're just trying to push out the bot lane. You see Armel again doing nature prop things, but they've got the TPs in. They actually want to fight this.
You've got Reaper side on cooldown right now, so Makoto won't have it for another 30 seconds. Hyde trying to get in there onto KP. Febby right by his side. Doesn't have Echo. They definitely don't really want to fight on the side of TNC right now, but a curse will come out. It's Kesku again with the media hammer to stun him up. Now the follow-up arrow. KP falling low. Nobody jumping in to help. But that's a great 3-man Fisher. Still with no Echo. You can't turn this one around. KP will not expend the Ravage just for this. He will die with it. And Makoto is waiting for his Reaper side. And there it is.
Oh man. Yeah, it's not looking great still for TNC. They're bleeding out heroes one by one. They haven't been really able to pressure too many towers as well. Like Armel split pushing fine. It's not translating to any real objectives, and Dream Assault just goes up to the tier 3s by himself.
Why not? How do you kill him? He's just way too difficult to deal with right now. He's got that Hyperstone as well, so he's attacking very, very quickly. Fisher out from maybe not really going to help the cause too. Say we'll just lose their mid Baron. Get these Gabby finds the Abdominal creep from SBZ, but not Silver Edge, forcing out the BKB. I love that from Dream Assault. Like, he knows his job's done in the mid lane, but he just goes in, forces a BKB charge out of Gabby, and now with that BKB on cooldown, you go for a bot lane. They can't fight.
Yeah, you still have Reincarnation up. You got basically everything you want in terms of control up and running, although they will punish KP. Armel.
Yeah, he's been caught out. He's trying his best to try and make sure his team doesn't have to try and defend high ground again. Hyde will go ahead and take that kill for himself. It's the only play he had. You can't really do much else. You were going to lose that bot racks as well had he not pushed out the top lane. It's just unfortunate he does get killed off in the process.
Yeah, there's really not much he can do to escape. He doesn't build anything like the Shadow Blade. So once he's caught, he's caught.
Okay, so March has got an idea. What if I make an ink portrait of the Skeleton King? Maybe that'll work. If we don't have a carry strong enough, we'll just take their carry.
I guess that works. Let's see how effective that is, really. We have seen this item pickup every now and again in the Grimstroke. So, you'd better hope that Dreamocell hurts himself more than he would other people.
You know what though? There are better options even apart from that Skeleton King. Like even just taking the Necrophos, you do get the Heartstopper Aura. So you can just have that going. Even the Beastmaster, you can still do the Aura, but Dreamocell getting jumped up. There's a big stun with that Inkswell. Gabby jumps in, picks down one life from Dreamocell. He'll come back. Now a huge rest up from KB. With there from Febby. They should blow up Dreamocell and Kensuke on the 11. He'll go down. Now Makoto trapped between a rock and a hard place. He'll go down as well. Too Febby on the Earthshaker. Hyde, he does manage to get out of there on the Mirana, or does he? Febby. Very, very close, but no cigar. Still a great team fight for TNC, and now they can go and try to clean up a Rosha.
Yeah, it's going to be straightforward for TNC. Biggest issue for Boom was the fact that they could not get the Winter's Curse off. That just ruined their entire counter fight, and TNC now gonna have that Aegis and Cheese. Makes it a bit more complicated for Boom to try to close this game out.
That it does.
Leaving nothing but fond
Gabby's the one with 2 lives now, so both cores, or both mod ones, can survive twice. Starting to get to that point where Gabby is hitting very, very hard. I thought he might try to finish off the Abyssal Blade first, but it looks like he is going to try and just get the Satanic up first. Which I actually can't blame him for, because the Satanic does have so much more turn potential. Oh, Kensuke doesn't see Gabby in that blur and just gets destroyed. No Inkswell necessary.
Yeah, again, a lot of Boom's initiation now is going to have to rely on the Winter's Curse. They don't have wide AoE spells. It's all single target, except for the Winter's Curse. They need to either find a pick-off with a Roar, or have TNC in a bad spot and have them kill off themselves.
Nice Orchid there on the Mirana high. He's just starting, but he does leap away. That's support Mirana, unless, no crit.
Ooh.
That's concerning though, right? It's support Mirana, you have 3 heroes, you have the Orchid, it just doesn't end up being enough. You could make the argument that Crimson Guard does really save the day for that Mirana, because it blocks out so much damage from Gabby. Now Dreamocell gonna run up, sees KP, does use the Silver Edge on the Tide Hunter. No Kraken Shell now. With that arrow, they do secure a very easy kill. Another
Gabby?
there. March gonna be in trouble as well, getting jumped on. He will be able to get out. Gabby, however, who's he going on? Effing Z will be able to clear up the Aegis. There is an ink. There of the Skeleton Keeper doesn't do much, and now the arrow onto Gabby with the Reaper sign. Send him to the graveyard. And that's a long respawn timer on the Piegon. He's gonna have to buy back surely.
Yeah, it's a great set of pickoffs for Boom. They find the Aegis carrier. You're not gonna have to deal with that second life anymore. They clean up the Tide. There are still things to worry about into the high ground. They still have the Echo Slam. They still have the Ravage when the Tide's back up. So Boom has to be careful with their spacing. They cannot allow themselves to be jumped like they were last time.
No, not. They may not have many options though. See, do they expend the buyback? KP is going to try and delay things. Sign out from Dreamocell, now Winter's Curse is going to be the Ramat, but there's the Ravage. It does connect on the 4 heroes. Still it does nothing, there's no real follow-up to it. Kensuke is going to fall low, but they can't really finish the job, and now the arrow. He does connect on the Armel. A great bishop. Oh no!
The Radiance
the blink was cancelled. The Radiance from Dreamocell, and now KP's going to die. Oh, baby, he jumps in, but it's too late. Oh, he's gonna die for his sins. Still, he can try and make a break here on the Dakota, but he's on. Soul Line is there. Gabby, he does come back with a buyback. They all buy back. Gabby will get Mikoto and now should be able to find the Skeleton King. They do dodge out that arrow. That's his first line. And they will find the second as well. But that cost them 4 buybacks. That one kill or 2 kills on the Necrophos and Skeleton King at the end. It's a real shame when that happens.
Yeah, it's something that can slip your mind, you know, in the middle of it, and it's gonna be a bit harder for TNC to commit to a lot more now. They don't have the leeway of having buybacks, so when they go for these objectives, it's kind of an all-in. Looks like they will want to pressure the tier 2 mid. They should be able to take it, as you don't really have much from boot. So they can find this objective at least.
Middle tower has fallen.
They get a tier 2 tower, that's great and all, but you'd hope for a bit more out of that.
That's the best you can get though. Like the respawns aren't too long. You've also got FBZ who was trying to cut that creep wave, which wouldn't have lasted long anyway in March.
Getting it roared up, those Beastmaster creeps. Hit hard, but don't clear him out. Gabby, take the rest. FBZ does get his way out of there. You don't mind really committing the roar at this stage of the game either. Like the cooldown really isn't that long.
Nah. It's worthwhile just to stall out TNC, and you've got everyone from Boom's side respawning now. They don't quite have buybacks. In fact, there are no buybacks in the map beyond our Melts NP. So perhaps work on farming that up at least on Dreamosol before they end up committing anything big, although they are smoked up.
They have the low ground. BZ gonna send the Hawk up, does get broken here from KB. Gets the ensnare off. Arrow, probably not gonna land. Now I'm gonna posture around that Roshan pit for a little bit here, Boom Esports, but there is no Roshan for quite a while. He could have tried for Armel down at the bot lane, but he is out of there now. And on the bright side, all this time that has been made does allow Dreamosol to buy out his full BKB now. And it's going to be a 10-second charge on that BKB. You know, we're 36 minutes into the game. It's really game-changing. You know, Gabby can't afford to get hit like this. Nice picture out there from Febby. Just locked them out. That ink portrait, though, look how much damage it's doing. It's critting for over 1k right now. That ink portrait is scarier than the actual hero. And eventually it will die. It does take a substantial amount of damage. Boom will have to find another way into this team fight.
Yeah, you are seeing TNC farm up fairly well as well. They've turned that advantage just a bit lower to 4 to 5k, although Gabby again just being a bit forward.
They can afford to do this though, because you look at top lane and Armel is just split pushing again. Dreamosol gonna TP up. He knows he needs to defend this, and now TNC will definitely be willing to take a team fight. Problem is they're constantly being scouted out by Hawks. Beastmaster doesn't exactly have the highest cooldown for those Hawks either. Have this permanent vision of FBZ. Eventually Dreamosol is going to be able to work his way back down towards his team. For now, John, tier 4 items are to be found for both teams before we see anything else, I think.
Yeah, you might as well. Is that time, gives you a nice little boost. Have to say, Febby finding that relic would be nice. Does look at it's coming out in the courier, so a little bit more damage, a little bit more stun time coming out on Febby, and that's always useful to have.
Oh, it's great on an Earthshaker. 25% debuff time. It's pretty darn nice. Smoke up here from Boom with the Moonlight. Gonna spot out KP. There is a sentry ward already down, so they can't really run too far forward, but Makoto now going to show himself. March gets cursed up. They want to get rid of that Grimstroke, but KB does throw out the Ravage. Arrow does connect, however. The team fight does begin. Bring this on. This is BKB here. Soulbine's going to come out, but they don't really initiate all the way. They just weren't feeling quite comfortable about that one. And even though the Ravage was expended, they just want to try and reset and come back in. Maybe just wait out that BKB for Dream Missile before you try again.
Yeah, and that was off the back of Febby having a good block with a Fissure. Just broke up the fight. They couldn't reach the Grimstroke before the illusion came out, and they were starting to clump up, so they did not want to get slammed. Just a lot of cautious play coming out from Boom.
The thing is, while all this is happening, Mill finds another tower. Just down at that bot lane, he finds his final tier 2 tower. Hyde will TP in to try and get that wave pushed out again. And now you have a side device up on Mill, and that's a big item to have. As well as that, even the blink on KP is available. We'll smoke up. BZ, be a nice target to go for. They haven't spotted him quite yet, and now the Moonlight Shadow is going to make it hard to find anyone. Hyde walking right by them. Gabby, get back to farming some Ancients. No vision on the side of TNC right now. Gonna run back into FBG, he breaks the smoke, they're grouped up, Winter's Curse. Oh. It's going to be straight on top of that Grimstroke. It's a great opening, and now the triple spot. The Meteor Hammer, the Reaper Scythe as well. They just get blown up. Gabby, yeah, he just BKB TP's out. He's not bothering with this. KP may not be so lucky to know he is Hyde. Wasn't quick enough with the arrow.
It would appear
but just 2 supports being removed from the game. No buybacks available on either. Boom Esports, they have a great opening to go high ground again.
Yeah, it is going to be a lot easier without that illusion coming out onto Dreamocell, so you don't have to deal with the Raid King up. This should allow them to at least clear out those bot racks, which have been exposed. You have to worry about the Ravage. The Slam will be up when Febby's back. There are some tools still available for TNC.
It seems to be going around. Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen. I don't believe
There's only one.
Radiant's bottom barracks has fallen.
That Ravage. The 5-man Ravage, but Cabby can't actually burst anyone fast enough. The Ghost Scepters are enough. Now the Royal Cabby, he's in big trouble. They're trying to... Not much to get 1 kill on the Dreamcell. Trying to go on the Kodo. He'll go forward. But it won't matter. They are going to find a third in the form of Makoto. All 3 calls will go down for Boom. And Bebby is still trying to find another Mel TPs. Roshan on TNC will try to make a comeback with this Roshan.
Can't allow that to go if you're Boom. The Ravage is down, the Slam is down. This is a pretty good time to go in there, it's just that they can't. And now that's going to be a refresh shard up for TNC. Potentially double Ravage. And that's just... it's just going to give them so much more to play with, and Boom. They're losing a lot of ground. They've lost their gold advantage. It's just 3k now. TNC, they can push really fast with Armel's ability.
That they will.
Middle tower is under attack.
Tier 3 tower going to go down. Still no buybacks being expended. There's Dreamcell, he will commit his. You're going to need more than that though. They aren't going to back off just for 1 skeleton here. Dreamcell, if you die right now, it's going to be disaster for Boom Esports. Arrow is going to come out, connect on Gabby, he's in trouble, but Fisher does come in. Now that Ink Portrait again doing a lot of damage, that Cold Embrace is going to save the day for Dreamcell.
Strange to say,
but not for the mid-ramp, still going down. Another great arrow out from Hyde. Where did he go? He does just back off. You have Makoto up in 5 seconds. Mel, Winter's Curse gonna get caught out. Gabby's still around with that Angus. He might just turn around here. Dagger's flying out with the meteor hammer. KP waiting for the first rabbit. Still 20 seconds away. He'll try out the Mirana though. Rory's there from FBZ. Stopping Gabby through the BKB, but now he'll try again onto Hyde. Maybe just have to give up on that one though. Hyde is just not dying. All these daggers being thrown out, not really doing too much either. No crits. And Boom Esports do manage to at least hold on to that secondary racks in the mid lane.
Yeah, it's getting tricky for Boom to get into these fights. TNC is finding openings and starting to punish Boom's movement. Boom needs to land a really big curse. This is the win condition. It's all about Kezcute finding the target, getting the chain stunts off. If not, you're looking at a Ravage, you're looking at an Echo Slam flying out. It gets squashed as 5. There's just no way for them to stop that from happening.
Well, the next team fight's going to be extremely hard for Boom. We can all agree on, you already have the first Ravage up now for KP. That was the only reason I think that TNC did not take that fight in that ago. About 20 seconds left first Ravage. You weren't going to refresh just for one. So now TNC looking for a smoke. They will commit. Back down to that mid lane. You still have the Aegis. You still have the cheese. Well, kill Dream Missile. He is gone. That'll be a dieback on him, and Dream Missile might show himself. Do it. Dangerous. He does actually break the smoke. So Dream Missile, perfect timing there. Still TNC should be more than happy to just keep going forward into a huge team fight, but it looks like the smoke, and they actually do decide to back off.
It's a bit tricky for both sides. TNC, even if they're ahead.
Dude.
Oh.
How far? It like they're gonna be there. Dream Assault ladies them in. Gabby comes in as well. They have Raw, but they won't commit yet. Dream Assault just stuns and runs away. Still Gabby looking for a target. KP waiting in the tree line, but Dream Assault wants to take that tide out first if he can. Nice fish shot. Does catch out high. Now they jump in, of course, again back on the Dream Assault. They got that ink portrait, and now the Ravage does come out. There's one. KP holding. Doesn't throw the second one out yet. Dream Assault is very low. Double die for the first time. This shot is there on the coast. Dream Assault does pop the BKB, but Gabby is not done. He keeps rushing forward, trying to get a kill off the Makoto. There's a curse up from Kezcute onto that Time Hunter. It's not going to do too much yet, but they're keeping him stunned up. Gotta make him Ravage again. They aren't going after Makoto, however. Ghostbrow will save him. Dream Assault, are you coming back into this team fight? Not quite yet. Wait for the high ground. Another big Ravage. Makoto's still not dead. Now Febby jumps into the Echo. It doesn't do too much, but they do finally kill off Makoto. Febby is low, but it looks like Boom Esports are unwilling to chase for the kill. They do have a buyback available on Makoto if they so wish to try and turn. Dream Assault has Reincarnate back up. Gabby, they can't commit it. We'll go up back. Oh, in fact, it wasn't committed. It was just a natural life steal. But now he probably will commit it as he has to jump in and heal himself up a little bit. Still, he's falling very, very low now. May have to commit the Aegis. Dream Assault also falling low. The Aegis does expire. Now Gabby cannot afford to die. Dream Assault so close, but Mel gets the sprout off on the Skeleton King, not allowing that epic damage to come out. So they can't hide. There with the Star. Connects the arrow as well. Gabby's in trouble. He will go down.
Strange to say,
he does have buyback hold. He'll be fine.
It happens a lot of time where TNC, they drag out that fight, they don't find the objectives, and boom, this gives them an opportunity to go back outside a map, shove out a lane. Maybe they just commit to the Divine on Dream Assault. He's got it queued up. If the fights last long enough, he's going to be alive anyway multiple times. So there is value there. You worry about the damage output that the Dark Portrait can do, though. That is something Boom has to really be careful about if that Divine does come flying in.
I don't know about the Divine. I really don't. You're gonna give that Ink Portrait a Divine Rapier as well? It seems like a bad idea. But Dreamer Soul, he just wants to be able to burst people down. He feels like his DPS is not high enough as is. And in all fairness, once he does have the Divine, if he gets a crit, that is almost a guaranteed kill.
Top tower has fallen.
Pretty much on anybody on the map right now, apart from KP. We'll see Armel. He does go into the mid barracks with those treants, and a Divine has been brought out by the Skeleton King. Dreamer Soul brings it out on the Courier.
Oh, and double damage.
Oh boy. Oh, so auto attack's doing almost 1,000 damage now, without crit. How much he crits for? Still hit something. 2.6. Not bad, not bad. Pretty decent damage.
That is more than decent in my eyes. I think right now, Boom, if they actually just fight in the Roche, get the Ags onto their Raid King, I think they've secured themselves a very long stall at the very least. It's just at the Roche, we've still got to wait for it to come up. And TNC, they've got the Slam and Ravage back up and running. So it's not the safest fight in that pit anymore.
No. Korea may have given himself away though. Oh, Raw and Winter's Curse at the same time. Still, they should be able to secure Armel, and they do. Reaper Science gonna come in, Armel will die, but he has buyback. Still, if Boom Esports can get very lucky and find an early Roche, they'll be very happy with themselves right now, but we're gonna find that in 7 seconds when it does come up. See how lucky Boom is today. And it is... Oh, that's lucky. 25 seconds for the next Roshan.
Oh yeah, that is going to be very important for Boom. Again, they blew a lot of gold on Dreamosol, and they're taking a massive risk with that Divine. They need the Aegis and the Ags and the Cheese. They need all of it to go up here and just turn this fight. It's been so even. Even the net worth, Mike. 1k advantage for TNC at this time doesn't matter. It's dead even so far.
Brought out the Roshan as well. They know. This Roshan's so perfect because you can pull out the buyback from Armel without even really putting yourself at risk. And Dreamsoul's critting for 2.4k right now. Roshan's not going to take very long with this race. Ouch. Courier gonna scout out. See you, Courier. That's to the to you. They're gonna try and find this KP. Does have his wing cancelled there by Makoto. Roshan, so close. No, but he's in there. He's Dreamsoul's gonna be able to pick up everything. Aegis still got. Oh, Aegis is still on the deck.
No. It's there. The Ags is still there. Dreamosol's struggling with his inventory.
Oh, he's got the refresher shot there as well.
Pick it up. You gotta pick it up. KP's gonna go take it.
Oh, what a pause timing. This is the most
BKB. Just BKB Dreamosol.
He has to, but that Ravage is coming.
Oh.
It's coming.
That's enough time though. I think that's enough time. This pause is hurting TNC a bit more because Dreamosol's gonna be alive.
Don't turn around right now, Dreamosol. Just press BKB. You don't want to see what's behind you right now.
Do it. Drop the wand! BKB, drop the wand! Pick up the
That's the obvious choice. You just drop the wand, pick up the ads, use the ads, then get the refresher shot. That's the best way to do it. It's hard. Obviously, like, he's in the middle of a team fight right now, John. It's hard to think that fast. He should know now. I mean, in some weird way, that pause is kind of lucky because Dreamsoul gets to think about what's happening. But for TNC, it is very unfortunate timing.
Yeah.
For sure. Because they would have gotten that Ravage, which meant that maybe you could have stolen the Ag's refresher.
Yeah, there we go. Let's see how this falls out.
Ready. See how it does, Dreamsoul.
Come on.
Get
No!
He does refresh the Ravage. Does also have the Axe, I believe. In fact, no, it is the Raid King. Ravage has been committed by KP. Dreamersault gonna chase him down. Should be able to find the kills, and now Gabby trying on the Coda. Winter's Curve comes out, the Coda still surviving throughout all this. And now the arrow comes out, Gabby. He is Coda right now. But a nice time to find Carmel protecting his teammate. They'll turn around. They are going to find the reincarnation life, but Gabby's still in trouble. He's trying to blink strike out of there. He still has his own BKB. Dreamersault would love to keep going, but a great Fisher from Febby. He does pop the arrow. They are still in the chase, however. Hyde is keeping up vision. Febby will die. FBZ, Raw is back up. That's how long this team fight's been going. He gets the PA with that Raw. Arrow blocked by KP. He'll take the arrow for his teammates. Fisher is gonna be there. Oh my. And if they kill Dreamersault, and they've got so many lives to get through, that's the problem. And with that Aghanim Scepter, Dreamersault can TP out with the reincarnated life from the Abs and actually keep the Divine in base.
Yeah, there's just no way this goes wrong for Boom unless they mess up some sort of timing, but that's Mega Creeps.
That is Megas.
Radiant's top barracks has fallen in late breaking.
Satanic will come out on Arm Mill. You've got to go for this fight, I think. Boom, they're not backing off. You are Boom, you just want to finish this run here right now. Dreamersault, yeah, he's just going to focus on objectives. KP does not have a Ravage. Side device, Gabby will jump in straight into that Skeleton King. Maybe finds one life, but no lucky crits coming out for it. Now, still no crits coming out. Dreamersault, what? Now the wall comes. Oh no! What do you mean? Febby gets the echo. It's a big one, but you've got so many lives in the Rage King. There's no follow-up to it. TA will jump in again. Still not pretty. Dreamersault just survives throughout all of it. Now gets a few. Dreamersault will lose his Aegis. One more life, and then you've got to cancel the TP to get that Rapier. But that Ancient is still exposed right now. They do side device him. So he is falling low. He BKB. Still back to the Ancient, but Gabby jumps in. He eats the cheese now. Surviving. Roar out of PA. KP with the Ravage. Does connect. Now the Raid King is in trouble. Very, very low. The Cold Embrace will save. Gabby still trying to go back onto that Skeleton King. They have to control. Go down. Now the one life. TP will just be fine. He finds Gabby with a crit. He thinks about TP. He will die, but he is back again with the reincarnation. The man never dies. The one true king will always fight.
Oh my god!
It's the Arcana, John. It's the Arcana.
Oh, wow! What a match to start the series. Boom!
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. On we'll go, finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest, echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. And we'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon.
Dire Team ban. 10 seconds remaining. Radiant team, ban. Dire team, ban. Radiant team, ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
What's to be an amazing best of two between Boom Esports and TNC Predator. It is MLP, Dota, and John X5. John, still shaking, sir. Still shaking after that game. You can see the vape liquid behind me. I've smoked the room up. That's how stressed out I was after that game, sir. It isn't my lighting, I'll tell you that. How are you feeling, sir?
Oh, I'm still kind of speechless about how that one ended up. It was on the edge from the Roche pit into the high ground. Dreamo Cell, I was yelling at him to pick up the items. And at the end, like, the fact that he actually had his reincarnate after the Ag's life, that was so on the edge to close out that match, but it paid off. And TNC, that was the best they've looked throughout the past few months. For us, you know, we watched them a lot in Birmingham. We didn't see them in the previous league, the online league that they beat Boom in, but yesterday it wasn't the greatest showing as well. That was the best we've seen TNC, and Boom still finds their number. So there has to be something that comes out from TNC. Based on the ban, they could have the opportunity for that Ricky for Gabby. And again, that's something we've seen them have a lot of success with. Maybe they just need to go back to that.
I think what Boom need to do is Dreamo needs to go out and buy himself a lottery ticket, John. Because Gabby, at the end of that last team fight, how many times did Gabby hit that Skeleton King? Not one crit. Not one crit at the end. He must have hit him it was at least 10 times.
Yeah.
Just not getting lucky enough to hit the coup de grace, excuse me, not coup. It is coup de grace. Well, anyway, we are into a new draft. Boom Esports versus TNC. Boom will take a 1-0 lead against TNC for now, but as we could see from that first game, TNC are not here to play around. They are definitely trying to at least draw out the series now. And judging from that Game 1 performance, they could easily do so. Perhaps a few draft changes, though. I've got to say, Armel at the end of the game looked amazing, right? He was throwing out the hexes constantly. He was buying so much space for TNC. But the hero itself didn't really feel like an Armel hero. He couldn't go in there and really help out Gabby. All he could do is sight the Vice. He'd throw out a Sprout here and there. Yeah, he was hitting pretty hard. But ultimately, his job seemed to be to just keep creating space for the PA. And I don't know, I personally would like to see Armel on a hero where he can actually just jump in and help out, right? Like, we're used to seeing Armel on these kind of heroes like TA, who's just happy to start brawling. You'd prefer to see him on something like that, I think, going into...
Yeah, I think that's something that TNT does play around with, right? Armel is their tempo setter, and there's only so much an NP can set the tempo with beyond speed pushing, so they give him a hero with more presence that might help their cause. TNC, though, start off with that Grimstruck. We saw a lot of work coming out from March with that Dark Portrait Illusion. It was causing so many issues for Boom earlier on. So if Boom reaches that point with a very farmed core, you've still got March, and if you can find the goal to get that Ags, you're going to have that option available.
By the way, in case you hadn't noticed, John, Benny's gone, Tim's is back.
Oh.
And Tim's was sitting there but behind the screen, just seething, wanting to be there. That was a Tim's game, right? If you wanted Tim's in any game, that was the game for him to be involved in. But he is back now. We do see Boom Esports after the Grimstreak pick, they do go into the Lone Druid. So that's a very, very different kind of first pick. We haven't seen that at all. Well, from yesterday anyway, from all those games we saw yesterday. not one lone druid pick. It does come out for the first time today, and they will follow up with the clockwork.
Yeah, I think that's a great start for Boom. Clock is something they pick up a lot. They do tend to toss to hide, but every now and again they give it to FBZ. So you've got that flexibility in the posterior 4 clock. The LD though, I think really ties into Boom's strength. Right, you're going to be pushing fast, you're going to be fighting fast if you wanted to. It can be a farm-heavy hero if you play it that way, but based on how Boom has been running, I don't think they're going to take too long to bring that LD to the front. So it's a solid start for Boom. They've got great ways to clear the objectives. TNC, they need a comfort pick to come out. The Brewmaster's available if they want it for KP. I think that could be pretty disruptive.
Could be. You've also still got the Earthshaker there for Tim's right now that hasn't been banned out. It's been a very high priority pick, but that would reveal both your supports straight off the bat. I don't think it would be too surprising though for Boom Esports anyway, right? Like you'd almost expect that Earthshaker to come out now. The only thing I'd see is being a problem here for that Earthshaker is you've got a clockwork. And Battery Assault just completely ruins Earthshaker. His attack and his spell animations are way too long. Battery Assault will cancel Fisher over and over again. They do not care. It is Tim's on the Earthshaker. He will take it. But that is their support duo being opened up straight off the bat.
And that's going to leave them vulnerable to something sneaky coming out. Maybe for the mid lane here, for Mikoto, could expect something a bit slippery. Something the Shaker and Grimstroke don't punish, so that does leave TNC slightly vulnerable as the draft goes on. We mention this every time we see a support duo first, but that's just the way it goes. Still, TNC, they always pick the Shaker up. We know Tim's does fantastic work with it. Febby was doing a great job as well. It's just there was that one moment where it whiffed in the bot lane that really comes to mind. So hopefully you're not gonna have that.
It happens, right?
It happens.
Literally
right?
every Dota player has done that. And if somebody tells me they have never whiffed an Echo Slam, I can't believe you. You're a liar. It's happened to every single person. Of course, this is a pro match, but sometimes you forget the radiance is there, and your blink goes on cooldown for 3 seconds. You just don't notice. Still, final bans now coming out. TNC Predator. They ban out the Lich. Boom Esports will respond with a Void ban, which is very interesting. We haven't had the pleasure of seeing the Faceless Void as of yet throughout this BTS Pro Series Season 2. But more importantly, Boom Esports now with their third pickup. I do believe that is going to be a possible clock, by the way.
Yeah,
I just say, I think, and I always tell you this, but possible clock, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated supports you could have. I think it's unbelievably strong. But we'll see. We'll see what Boom Esports thinks with this third pickup now. We should be seeing a POS 5 pick. Do they go into the Wyvern again? We did see Kescute. He was having a great old time in that Wyvern. Doing so much work for his team.
That could work out. I think that gives them a lot of great team fight. The Clockwork's not going to give you that much team fight, right? It goes in, it focuses on a single target. Maybe it splits up the fight, but the Winter Wyvern does give you a lot better of a clump up and a lot better control in a wide area. So they were looking for a pause 5 there. I wouldn't blame them for that. They go with the AA instead, which is great with the clock, right? You hook in, you cogs up, easy target for the AA to follow into. Allows them to not worry about sustain. So this takes away a lot of heroes for TNC. Even something like the Troll is not gonna shine too well up against an AA. Just a great pick for Boom. Plays into their aggression nicely. So I am liking Boom's opening a lot more. I think it plays to their strengths a lot more. And TNC, yeah, they've got the Shaker for Tim's. They need a lot more to come out here.
That they do. They do have their third pickup now. Arguably the KP hero to pop out. He had a great time performance last game, doing so much work, but it has been banned out. You brought up the Brewmaster though. For now, they go for the flex pick and the Void Spirit. We have seen that quite a few times in the off lane. We've seen it in the mid lane, and I believe you and I, we've even casted it in this at some point. So it can really go anywhere. I would assume it's going to be the off-lane hero, but it's not really something I think of when I think of KP.
Yeah.
10 seconds
he
remaining.
does tend to enjoy those beefier kind of off lane.
5 seconds
Again, just
remaining.
like to create havoc in fights, and Void Spirit not really one of those heroes.
No, it isn't, but I believe KP has it for TNC a couple of times. It's a viable option there. Yeah, it's a viable option there. How much you can get is a different question. It's quite strong with Grimstroke though, right? You jump in, you've got the Ink Spell on, very easy follow-up, very easy way to find a kill. So it's potent in that sense. It gives TNC some early ping to play around with. Once you hit 6, you should be able to give the Shaker some time to farm the Blink, and we always mention that when the Shaker is picked up, but pause for a Shaker does need space to find a farm for a Blink. So the Void Spirit should enable that. That is certainly still playing into what TNC wants. Boom, though, they're not kidding around. DK comes very flexible pick, right? You don't have the mid laner or the off laner quite set in. It gives them great push. So you've got the LD and the DK who can just melt these towers fast. Boom wants to pace back for game 2.
I can't blame them. And I gotta say, I love that DK pick coming out. Lone Druid DK is the amount
5
of
seconds
foot
remaining.
that can be there. Not to mention, like, you've got these two tanky frontliners now in the Spirit Bear and the DK. It can make it very, very tough to go into the back. You're gonna try and find that ancient apparition, right? If you're this Void Spirit, you're going after the Lone Druid himself, you're going after the AA, you're trying to burst those down, and then go on to something like the DK a bit later on. TNC now, they have a pick that can deal with both the Lone Druid and the DK. The Necrophos.
I'm a bit iffy on that one. It's great burst and control, right, for those two heroes. But your sustain is not there. AA just takes it away.
Right.
You're not going to be healing up in these fights, so the durability of the Necrophos, I'm not sure if it's going to be there, but in terms of control and burst, it helped out massively in pinning down one of these two heroes. I think that is still giving Boom a lot more to play with. Like, last pick, TNC has to close this draft out, so they're going to reveal for us if the Void Spirit's off or mid. With a pick, the last pick should be a Gabby hero. I mean, the Ricky might make an appearance if they wanted it to. You've got a pretty solid lineup for it. Whether or not you can eat through the LD or the DK with a Ricky though early on, probably not. So there's going to be a bit of a
5 seconds remaining.
The Ricky is nice LD though, right? You can just blink onto the actual Lone Druid and just burst him down, ignore the bear altogether. It's something we've seen a lot being picked into the Lone Druid. If there's ever been a time to take it, it's probably now. Not necessarily great up against the DK, but you have the Necrophos for that, so you're not too worried about that side of things. And back on the point of the AA versus Necrophos, I think the idea from TNC is that the Void Spirit will take care of that support. Now I do question whether he even gets to that point. Whoa, we have a Terrorblade popping out for TNC. Interesting pick. Very reliant on that Metamorphosis. We go over this every time, but if you die, you can't buy back because you don't do anything. Unless you haven't used the meta, and every time that meta's off, you just can't do anything. You're just kind of sitting there farming instead.
We've seen Gabby play a lot, of course. I love the counter up from Boom. Pugna, it ruins Necrophos. It ruins Terrorblade. You need to build a fast BKB on Gabby, and the Necrophos' sustain works against it. Boom, again, tying up their draft in a magnificent fashion. You've got push on all 3 cores. You've got the answer to all 3, all 2 big cores from TNC. TNC has to really play around Gabby. They have to be on point with a Metamorphosis. If not, they're not going to have a map to play in a very short span. Boom will just push you down.
It's going to be a very, very interesting game between these two. Of course, again, TNC, they're going to try and see if they can get a draw going for themselves up in esports.
5 seconds remaining.
It hasn't been a very good day for TNC thus far, John. They're currently 0-3. Unfortunately for TNC, getting owed by a droid as well. They definitely don't want to have a day like RR had yesterday going for. It is possible right now. Boom. Just keep up their performance. Of course, if you're unaware, after this series, we still have 2 more series coming up. Esports will be back to fight GeekFam. Our final series of the night will be Execration versus Signal Ultra. But for now, these 2 big teams are up for us, and we'll focus on these guys.
Yeah, it's is going to be the Armel Void Spirit as well. So KP is on Necrophos, just to act as a slowing down factor for games. I don't think this hurt the Lone Druid too much. He's going to be playing with the Bear anyway, right? It's going to be up front. Still going to find the last hits. KP should be able to sustain himself. See just how he can get out from their draft.
Mid Void Spirit Armel, we've seen him on this hero before, and he does to make a lot of space for the team on this.
And Gabby's farm. I don't know if Gabby will have the space he needs to find that farm. With this kind of lineup from Boom, it's just a map. You're gonna lose your tier 1s fairly quickly. I think by the 10 to 15 mark, you're probably looking at two tier 1s gone. Having the DK, LD, and Pugna. They just push way too fast.
That's the problem. That's the real issue here for Gabby. Like, you're going to buy a few Wraith bands, you're going to rotate into the jungle, but Boom Esports, they're going to try and take that jungle away from you very quickly. You don't really want to be locked in to a very small portion of the map if you are a Terrorblade. You are very, very reliant on that jungle farm. Yes, John?
They actually switch it out. Dreamocell has a shared tank because he's going down mid.
Oh, okay.
They want Pugna to match up against KP, I suppose. Just keep that counter, or on the TB, because that's never fun. You're going to be disarmed.
Either way, you're still happy if you're Boom Esports.
Yeah, for sure. This is just going to be really hard for TNC to find the farm in that lane, regardless. Like Dreamocell, sure, you know, the Void Spirit hits hard. It can really annoy you, but you don't care. You've got a Bear. Just sit back, let the Bear do the work, respawn it, and heal it up if it drops low, but that's it.
We'll have the go-ahead. See where Makoto does head to, and for now he's having to think about it. FBZ is going to go up that top lane. And that's the thing, right? Whether you have the Pugna, whether you have the DK, Gabby has a hard time no matter what. Because even if you don't have the Decrepify there, you have the Breathe Fire. To just lower his attack down to the point where he won't be able to CS because you'll just deny him every single time. Of course, when he has meta up, it's a different story, but it's such a long cooldown, especially at level 1. It's not really going to be up that often to be able to farm these waves. If they keep up this tri-lane as well from Boom Esports, you got Clockwork AA in one lane. Get a cold feet in Cons, that is game over for whoever is caught.
Yeah. You will need perhaps level 2 to maximize this tri-lane. That can be a bit slow in terms of finding the XP, but it's really potent. I don't think you really need to help Mikado out too much. It is going to be against a Necrophos, and both sides can really just shove the lane. I don't think you're going to be too worried about KP finding early farm. You've got tools to deal with any early sustain coming out from them anyway. So if they wanted to play aggressive, they really could. There's nothing stopping them.
KP can be a real nuisance on this Necrophos, let me tell you, John. Played this hero quite a few times, can be very frustrating to have to go up against. Do have that natural counter though, Makoto, so Makoto's gonna have his hands full this game. Though I love the item build Makoto's queued up. Dagons. Straight up Dagons.
Yeah.
I mean, it works, right? Like, you're gonna use it with your Decrepify anyway, but KP goes into Ghost Form, you just Dagon.
Are those little
people and they're
down
not gonna be there. They gone.
Wonderful
It's
what they can do these
it's
days.
so nice against the Terrorblade as well, right? Like high armor. Who cares? You're just gonna burst them down.
The zapping. Might be no fights over the bounty runes. TNC will take the bottom bounty runes for free. Esports will oblige and take the top bounty runes for themselves. And FBZ is indeed going to stay up at that top lane. Dreamer Soul is definitely going to go back down mid. I find it kind of interesting that he keeps the Blightstone on himself on that Lone Druid rather than the Spirit Bear, but at the start you are much stronger than the bear anyway, so you may as well.
Yeah, it's some situations where you will pull that bear back. You might as well apply that debuff yourself with your range advantage anyway. And for Armel, probably not the hardest lane, and Cole, if you get rooted up, it's not going to be easy either.
That's the problem though, you've got constant harassment that will come in here from Dreamer Soul. The Armel's job is just to stay safe and keep securing CS, trying to get to level 6 or 7 so you can start rotating. Maybe even find a solo pick off onto this Lone Druid if you feel like you have enough damage. But I think Gabby will need help very, very early on, and I think we can all go past. It's just not going to be with FBZ.
No.
Then again though, if March can get some nice pulls off this small camp like he already has, it could be, well, he didn't even pull, he just got a nice block off, but if you can just keep the equilibrium behind that T1 tower, Gabby should be able to farm fairly nicely, and FBZ should really have no influence.
Yeah, it's really down to denying that EXP on the side of Boom, so March would have to be pretty on point. Gabby has been playing conservatively though, hasn't really popped the meta just yet, and as long as he doesn't have to, I guess you're gonna be happy in this kind of scenario.
He doesn't need it. Not yet. Bot lane as well, you'll see KP there on the Necrophos. He's going to be up against Makoto. Execute is going to be there on the Clockwork. Of course, we will also see Tim's around on the Earthshaker, just to get a few levels up and maybe make a rotation down mid. Okay, he doesn't really want to be near the Clockwork because it's just there's no way you trade farm or trade harass evenly with a Clockwork as an Earthshaker.
Yeah.
Yes, Cute. How dedicated are you, sir? He will give up on the courier snipe for Tim's courier. Now, I'm kind of intrigued as well whether we will see the Clockwork making rotations or whether Kesku just intends to stick around this bot lane. Because in all honesty, with Cog's battery assault, KP can't really do much. But Kesku's going to try and chase him down right now. There's the battery assault. You only need one to hit, and now the Cogs with Makoto there with another blast. It's going to be a first blood coming out down the bot lane. He fairy fires, but it's not going to be enough. Makoto does get the kill on Tim's. All he could do was fish up.
Yeah, it's a great little start for Boom. They're starting to find their foothold there. I think the one thing TNC has going for it is the fact that Gabby's lane is going really well. He's pretty much free farmed here. FBZ is just focusing on his own farm. They're not really able to apply any meaningful.
Oh, looks like your internet's cutting out on me, John. I'll get you to have a look at that, and hopefully that's fixed up pretty quick. But yeah, Gabby is having a decent time so far, 20-4, or 20-3 on the Terrorblade. Just gotta keep that up. I suppose it is perfectly fine for FBZ to just focus on his own farm. Wants to get those quick treads and braces into the blink, but now the Inkswell, Gabby trying to chase onto Hyde. The Inkswell won't end up landing thanks to the Dragon Tail there of FBZ. Just back to the farming game for both cores. Armel's having a decent old time in the mid lane as well. Just trading farm evenly with Dreamer Soul, who hasn't really been able to shut down Armel. I mean, this is the whole reason why you had the draw there in the first place, to try and get this man down. But bot lane, Makoto does end up going down. KP ends up securing a kill on the Pugna. Well, that's an important one. This is essentially your position 1 Pugna right now in this safe lane, so KP gonna be happy about that. Makoto just gonna make his way back in though. It's a very, very nice bunch of farm there from those neutral camps. And both the creeps, in fact. Top lane, FBZ, gonna be able to find Gabby on that Terrorblade as well. And this is what we were really talking about. You've got to be very wary if you are the Terrorblade, because you are susceptible to dying like that. And you can't forget, it's not a Clockwork AA combination up at top lane, but you have Dragon Tail Cold Feet, which is almost just as good. You will be able to secure kills on the Terrorblade assuming you do land that combination. Pings, bot lane, Makoto. Locked up, a great fish route from Tims. Can you lock him down long enough though? KP is kind of out of mana right now. I don't think they're going to have the damage output. They do burn through some regen, but Makoto, he still has 1 charges and the bottle up. Be fine to just keep trading here as Kesku. Gonna go on to KP. Has level 2 battery assault, but doesn't opt to bother trying as Tims was still around. But now we'll see Hydro take down. So he feels safe to leave FBZ up at the top lane by himself. With Hydro, you can guarantee kills onto KP. Kind of like this, where you get the battery assault once. KP trying to run away, he can Ghost Shroud, but that only amplifies the damage. He will end up dying, but now Armel makes a rotation. He is to find the support Clockwork trade. And luckily for him, because he has the haste rune, he can rotate back mid very, very quickly. We won't really find Hyde though on that AA. Would have been a nice support if they could have. Hit a bit of a power spike now for Armel, where he can just rotate around the map and just try to secure kills for his team and create all kinds of havoc. And as well as that, looks like KP's made the call that he wants to be in the mid lane now. That Pugna Clockwork lane is just going to be way too rough for him. Speaking of that Clockwork, Keswick's being blocked up by the Fisher, now throws out the Cogs, but Tims will be able to secure the kill now on the Earthshaker, on the back of all the damage that Armel is dealing as well.
Cunning, or perhaps of desperation, Dire's
Essentially for Armel, this is going to be his life for a while, just trying to kill people off.
Yeah, that's really what you expect from the... And I did try to fix my internet, I'm not sure if it's really helping, is it?
Oh,
okay. Good.
Brace yourself for sad tidings.
Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. Looks like a fair bit of aggression came out here during that downtime, but one thing that's been consistent is Gabby's farm. He's still 53-5. He's died once, but I think at this point, Gabby's perfectly happy staying in the jungle.
Just generally what you see on the from the Terrorblades, they just find a few Wraith bands and make that rotation into the jungle. But however, Armel still on tear here, finding Hyde now on that game.
Tower is being attacked like nobody's
second kill of the game. I believe that's the 3rd kill he's participated in. Finds a little Indus rune to bottle up as well while he's at it, and straight back down the bot. And we will see Hyde TP down to. He will slowly but surely start being surrounded. Even Gabby showing up now. Has that level 3 meta. It looks like it's time to try and push down a tier 1 tower.
Yeah, they've got the scan off as well. They know someone's hiding here, and Armel should find himself a nice kill.
It's gonna go down very, very easily. Now that'll be a guaranteed trade on those tier 1s as well. Of course, the side of Boom Esports did find their own tier 1 up at the top lane. And it's off the back of Dreamer Soul, who has been farming rather nicely on that Lone Druid. Currently sitting at 4.2k net worth, and we are going to have another pause. We do have the just unpause like that, I don't think. You've got to kind of tell them. I believe it was probably a mistake, and yeah, Makoto, he was trying to pause at the same time. Okay. That's why he unpaused.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but yeah, Southeast Asian internet. Fast reconnect, so that's a good sign. Nope, not a fast reconnect.
Sure, he'll be back soon.
Yeah, it's still looking a bit better here for TNC early on. I think that top tier 1 does put a bit of a dent in the areas where Gabby can farm, but up the pace with the activity from Armel.
They're gonna make the way back into mid. Armel, of course, going to be going for that Spirit Vessel rush, which will really work out quite nicely up against all the heroes of Boom Esports. So denying some of that heal off from the partner, as well as just really dealing with that DK and the Lone Druid. KP, if he could bait them in right now, it'd just be fantastic, because he does also have the Reaper's Sight. You have a reconnection there from Makoto. No go ahead yet.
The one thing for Boom right now is not finding EXP. You look at KSQ still stuck at level 3. You look at Hyde, who just hit 4 before dying there. And they need to hit that 6 mark to start playing aggressive. They need a hookshot, Ice Blast, and before then, I think you're at the point where Cog's Battery Assault might not be enough without follow-up.
Find out soon, they might run into each other.
I feel
Boom is just trying to control off that dive jump. It's really important when you're up against a Terrorblade. Luckily, Gabby, understanding this, does go straight down to the Radiant side jungle and farm there instead. He can slowly apply this T2 tower pressure as well, if he is left alone. Like, even just leaving an illusion there on the T2 tower can be kind of annoying for Boom to try and deal with, but Makoto will already be there to make sure. And now a smoke up from TNC, and they're going to run straight into KSQ. Not quite the kill they wanted. I believe they on that Lone Druid, and that's why they ran north. Luckily for Dream Assault, KSQ was there to break the smoke, and well, he's just going to go for a quick TP out. Nobody's going to notice his TP, and he'll be fine to get out of there. But Hyde does end up going down to Gabby in the meantime. Now the outpost being taken away by TNC, and that is not great for Boom. They are kind of relying on that outpost XP to get both their supports up in terms of levels, and now it's denied off.
Yeah, it's a really big win for TNC again. A much better start for them here as we reach the 10-minute mark. Boom, they're still gonna be EXP starved. We talked about this earlier, but KSQ's still 3. You don't even have 5 on Hyde. And this does mean that Boom can't be as aggressive as they'd want to be.
Bottom lane, Armel, Arcane Rune in the bottle, feeling confident. He'll spot out FBZ, but he doesn't have too many teammates around him right now. Doesn't feel like he can make that jump. However, Boom Esports would happily oblige if he did want to. Gotta be careful though now. Tim's does eat the tomb and does have level 6. Of course, still no blink up on the Earthshaker, but he's getting closer and closer as time goes on. And instead, TNC want to be the ones to try and force in towers, and they'll go after that 2-1 mid.
tower is being attacked.
FBZ will get jumped on. Abraham there with a nice one onto FBZ. Another eager sign from the Echo, just to make sure he does end up dying. And they can definitely secure that T1 mid with this Terrorblade meta.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard for Boom to fight in. They don't have their ults. They are splitting with Mikado up top as well. Mikado did do tier 2, but he comes back in.
Tower is being attacked. It's strange to say.
Dream Assault.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Trying to prepare in to do something. jumping. It's not as tanky as you would hope at the moment. A nice Bishop block just splitting up the team fight from Tim's. Kescube getting jumped on, does survive with the Kong. Streamersaw trying to run away with that Spirit Bear. Sends it back in. Streamersaw getting it rooted off here onto the turret. Laser Petrified there as well. He's in trouble. Gabby will get blown up. Hug the damage. You cannot underestimate how much he does. Now Armel trying to get out of there. He will Astral Step. The rest of TNC will be fine. But the problem is you did not find the mid T1 and you did not end up getting Gabby out safe.
Yeah, it's a issue for TNC. Just losing Gabby like that always hurts. He's number one at Fort right now. It's their mid tier 1 that is going to be taken. And Boom just pushes faster. It's just that simple. Yeah.
It's substantially faster. Like, once you have the Mask of Madness up on the Spirit Bear, it is kind of crazy how fast he can take down towers. And even that casual Blightstone on the actual lone Druid is, you know, really amplifying that damage from everybody.
It really is. And TNC, I think the best they can hope for is Armel to continue to hunt down people. Looks like he has his sights set on Kescube.
Mission up, does throw the comms out, but Armel will happily just jump in. Ice Class was coming in case. It does actually connect on Armel, who jumped into it. Makoto just needs a bit more damage. But it won't be enough. Armel should be just fine to walk out with his knife attack. They all TP up towards the top lane now, but they're going to try and deal with Dreamer Cell. He is going to TP. Tims needs to get a Fisher off ASAP. Can't find one.
Missed opportunity. Right now, you really want to be able to punish Dreamocell. He's had a bit too free of a time, and he's just been steadily farming up towards what looks to be an MKB.
It's getting to that point where it might be too late. Like, this draft from Boom Esports is really starting to come out online. TNC may need to just try and play the avoid game as Kescube now looking for a hook shot on the clock. Won't quite find an angle. Nor does he find a hero, but he will as Armel just kind of run straight into them. He can actually step away. Hook shot perfect from Kescube. Just slipping right through that tree line.
Yeah, just the discipline in chaining those stunts and hugs right outside takes away this tempo setter of TNC. They do still maintain a 3k lead here. Is just riding on Gabby though. So you're bleeding out in a lot of your other cores. They are smoked up trying to find something, but even if they find FBZ, I don't think he might on DK.
Nah, he won't mind too much. He's actually going to TP out just to get him in time. The only way to stop that was the blind fish from Tims, but he couldn't see anything. And now with that rotation being made down bot lane, look at Dreamcell. Up at the top of Makoto, easily just pushing into T2 Tower, forcing out the blitz. You've got Kescube there as well, who has hookshot off cooldown in 5 seconds. There's no way to defend it. Boom will just take it for free.
Yeah, and they can't even push out the bot lane as well as a trade. There's just not a fast push coming out, even if you commit the metamorphosis. It's just not as strong. They could try to go for the mid, but they've kind of split up now.
Armel, gotta be careful. Kescube's looking for that angle. He waits for the dissimulate. Rocket Flare will not get vision, and Armel will get out of range. But there's another thing you have to be scared about here if you're TNC. Of course, when you have a lone druid, you always have that Roshan potential. And it's not going to be very hard to take that Roshan down quickly with a Pugna DK and lone druid. Boom Esports, I'm sure they'll slowly but surely start warding around that pit, getting prepared for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very easy objective for them to take. They've got the control on the map as well. They could just hit. Gabby is farming in a very unsafe area. He is spotted out.
Nodo gonna be there to crepify and Nether Blast. FBZ coming in now. He has the stun. No Dragon Tail yet. He waits for the Manta. Now Manta expended. He will jump into the live train as well. But the hook shot. TNC will make sure he dies. They do at least find a trade onto the Pugna, but Armel now needs to run away. Tim will Fisher and allow some space for his Void Spirit. But Boom Esports, you trade a Pugna for a Terrorblade? I think you're happy.
You're very happy with that trade. You're just taking away that investment TNC's putting into Gabby. again, that slight lead TNC has, a lot of it is just on gap. So you're not finding maximum value from that Terrorblade so far. And every single time he dies, Boom just gets happier. They can shove out a lane, and they can slowly build up. DreamOCell still waiting on that MKB, should be up and running soon, although.
Alpha is taking Kensuke, taking a bit of damage, but the thing is with support Clockwork, he's actually a little bit tanky. It's kind of hard to burst him down. And RML just doesn't really have the damage unless he can hit him for a prolonged amount of time. And now KP top lane. Burst it down. That's that Ice Blast you talked about against KP's Necrophos. It is going to be a problem. Well, that's why.
Radiant structures.
Yeah, there's just no way you survive unless you've got a way to bail yourself out, and it's not easy. The Necrophos' strength is on the edge. You're not gonna have an edge to play on without Hero here.
Must I repeat myself?
Onto that T2 mid tower. Not gonna be the fastest push, but
Middle tower is
I say that. Mask of Madison, super dead. The code with another blast. They did make these towers tankier, but you've still got heroes that tend to deal with them quite easily nonetheless.
I feel like a
He show himself mid, March will also TP in, but it looks like Boom are just happy with forcing those rotations. They'll back off again. Just keep making TNC chase you around the map. That's the objective, it seems.
Cause for celebration?
Yeah, they are playing that quite well, Boom. He's not finding the targets they want with his chases. RML has really just not farmed. He's been constantly around the map, and this is going to hurt his Ag's timing. You know, he found it for great. It's slowed down a lot now, and just means you're tearing farm away from Gabby if you do try to go into the jungle.
Mid lane, with some Terror Lane illusions in, will be not supposed to deny at the T1 tower. DreamOCell will not give any free gold out. Now, TNC roaming jungle. Looks like Q does catch out Tim's. Tim's had the Blink Dagger up, but does end up dropping regardless, as it was cancelled by Kescu. I guess now if you're TNC, you're just playing the waiting game here for Gabby, who is still trying to farm up that Eye of Scotty on the Terrorblade. But while you're farming that up, there's an MKB up now on DreamOCell Spirit Bit.
Just makes it a lot harder to tank through that damage. Well, not only that, but I believe Mikado has his first day gone up.
Uh-oh. Might be on the courier. Gabby farming right next to Boom. Tim jumps in and gets an echo on the road Brewer. Do they have comfort? No! He'll be fine. He's up the height. No, will jump into that phone door. He's so tanky right now. Kescu at least will die. Reaper will be enough to do security kill. Now FBZ needs to get out of there. Comes in there, not going to help his cause. He will die. They will chase the final kill around them. Hyde. He'll be alright, he gets out of time as well. But that's a 3-for-1 trade. The only one to die was Tim's on the Earthshaker. And that's really the potency of KP's Reaper's side. Nobody else can deal with the lone Druid apart from this Necrophos.
Yeah, it's a great fight for TNC. One thing with Boom there was that Mikado was so far away in that fight, and that did cost them. They need a way to mitigate the damage coming out from Gabby. They did not have it there. The Spirit Vessel was doing a lot of work as well from RML to stop our DK from being a tanky boy. So TNC now starting to find ways to chip away at Boom, but Boom probably not feeling too phased out from that.
Halfway. No. Nice kill FBZ.
Oh.
Would have been a basic insta-kill had he stunned, but looks like there was a bit of
我是一
confusion
个
there.
没有感情的刷钱机器。
Yeah, he's not happy about it, that's for sure. Mel does get out scot-free. They still over. Oh, perfect from Kescu. That's the thing about playing Clockwork, John. You've got to find angles. Kescu continues to find them just on the edge of that hook.
Yeah, just something with that kill. Not the biggest kill, of course, but you're getting gold. That is helpful. This allows them to go into the Roche Pit, and it should be fairly quick once DreamOCell points in.
We talked about this before. It's going to be a really fast Roche with the low Druids. And TNC not in position to try and counter this Roshan play. They have smoked up now. They're going down for 15 seconds, however, but they just want to try and go for a steal. FB moving his way in, FBZ starts an illusion. Roshan but now a bounty being placed on the AA behind. He's actually going down Armel. Still Roshan is very low, but Armel does claim the bounty. That's one hit win. Now FBZ gets a stun. They do kill off Armel on that voice spirit. Echo is going to be there from Tim. That's on two, but it's not enough. Tim's on Makoto. Now that spirit bear hits away onto KP and he has no reason to try and target. He is going to die as well. It's a triple kill out from Makoto. The tip's up from the top, and it's just back to the Roshan hit. They just didn't really focus on Roshan. They tried to focus on the other side.
Roshan.
Really well. He tried to take down the AA first. He found the AA, but they just never really made their way into the pit afterwards.
Yeah. And Armel is their most mobile hero. He's the guy who could go in, interrupt the Roche fight, and flip cost them. They lose a lot of heroes. Aegis means that you're going to have a harder time dealing with Dreamo Cell. And now, don't have Slam, so the next fight, not going to have that tool available. Boom should be able to into a lane real works.
That's what they intend to do. And back to that T2 mid tower. Himself will be cautious. He doesn't want to just lose the Aegis for no reason.
Stress.
KP don't want to be there right now. He's gonna loop around, looking for that Dragon Tail. Let's secure that T2. They'll find it.
Point out that Dire's middle tower
Now Boom, maybe just off the back out and they almost get so there's no need to rush this.
That's slow and steady for them. This does TNC time to finish that Scotty on Gabby. So he's gonna hit a little bit harder, mitigate the healing coming out from Mikado, but has mainly been on nukes this time. Not a very heal-friendly Pugna, so it's not gonna help too much against that burst, although the stat padding is nice.
Gabby moving himself from that bottom lane, he was in real danger there. Smoke will lead to nothing for Boom Esports. Want to continue this aggression. They don't want to give him more time over to that Terrorblade, who does have that Eye of Skadi up, building into that BKB. Was making ages. I wonder though whether they'll try to force a high ground push or whether they'll just go for a full kill to teamfire to really expend that Aegis here for the side of Boom. Yeah,
I think they'd want to use it on an objective. That's where their team really shines. So they smoke again, and looks like they have an idea where TNC's at.
Primus off the bot lane by himself. A lot of damage missing, and the reason why they smoked up is because will drive it now. FPZ jumps in anyway with the Ice Blast follow there from behind, but Amel's still alive for all this. Now the Nether Ward, Amel trying to TP out. The Ice Blast passive may be enough.
No.
Ooh, it was close.
Ooh.
KP, however, still being chased up. Primusol has now joined his team. KP has that good.
No.
That is a sticky spot, KP. He can't get away. Oh, that is cheeky.
Oh, man.
That's a cheeky one.
And that's why Boom should start carrying some dust. Just to ensure they find those kills, but in the end, TNC's gonna be pretty happy with that. They forced the buyback out from Kezcute. They don't find anything beyond that, but forced the buyback out is enough to take a little bit of Boom had away. So Kezcute's progression has slowed down, and TNC gets more space to farm for Gabby. As you mentioned, he's saving up for the BKB. He's inching closer towards it, and once you have that BKB, you aren't worried about Kotoing.
Radiant's structures.
Still worried about that low druid though.
In fact,
Dream Cell
Radiant
very close to having the full AC, and now looks to push on to the high ground. Again, we talked about that Aegis. He's going to use it on objective.
Dire's structures are fortified. They are looking quite good.
Tim's hook shot there to back him up, it doesn't connect. Tim still, the network
tower is being subjected to extreme violence.
Tim does have. Meanwhile, Mel actually find Kev's bottom tower, and that should stop. As well as that, Gabby pushing that bot lane down, forcing a defense out of Boom Esports.
And TNC are holding on quite well. I think KezCute just being caught out is costing a lot. I need the lockdown from the cogs to help them find these kills. Dream Hotel does finish up the AC, so there's a lot more damage coming from her there. If they can find somewhere to channel that, it's just that they can't. And once more, Gabby being left alone like this might be able to really overtake. He's already 3k ahead of Dream Hotel. So the TB is really building up here, and Boo has not been punishing.
It's a bit more. He's getting there though. I believe he has his full BKB on the way. Yeah, that's his core. That's the BKB. What's he on after that though? Gonna go for the Satanic. It's fairly standard stuff for the TB. But at that point, once you've got that Satanic up, safer. Mind you, you are still concerned about the AM. At least with the BKB, you won't need to be worried too much about Nice Blast. Bot lane, Gabby ends up getting a kill off with her. And now they also end up finding KezCute with that. It's a tier 3 push to start. And a Rats. This really shouldn't be happening here for Boom Esports.
Tim's just went in, commit the slam. That was enough. They don't have it for the next fight, but it doesn't matter when you take the objectives like this. And once more, you're seeing leaving Gabby alone. It's just a lot of work now. Fresh BKB up and running on the Terrorblade. Mean that, and your burst damage towards him is limited.
Extends to a 7k net worth lead for TNC now. Gabby's still farming up. Boom Esports must be aware that their time is slowly starting to run out. Dreamers are already getting prepared for having a bit more deep push on the side of Boom Esports for a Mjolnir. He's still careful down to that bot lane. Does have his team making their way over to him. The rest of TNC weren't very close by. Then to try and tee or get Armel out of there. Tim's might not be so lucky, and Gabby's also around the corner. Just trying to break the distance. Ice Blast, gonna be used to scout out, doesn't quite find anything. Rocket will spot out Gabby on the retreat, but you're not close enough for a hook shot. So Boom Esports now being the ones to chase around TNC, but don't find anything.
And again, TNC, as this game stalls on, they are getting a lot more. Gabby just continues to grow to be a bigger threat. And Boom's farm is starting to fall behind. Dreamocell is at 15k, Gabby's at 20. Blade really is building up a massive lead. What Boom needs to get done is really just find a solid pickoff. That's what we were seeing from them earlier. They need to rely on KezCute to isolate someone, burst them down, and then force a bigger fight with a numbers advantage.
Boom Esports back down to the bot lane, maybe just trying to set up that bottom Q2 tower that's been left. Do have another pause. Boom Esports still having multiple internet issues here, it seems. Time Dreamcell the one to...
Yeah, it's one of those days for the internet, I suppose. Man, TNC, with that 7k lead, I mean, it's not just Gabby, although we've been talking about him a lot, but you look at Armel, with the Ags, the silence is going to cause a lot of issues there. The only real core to fall behind, well, quite a fair bit behind is KP. Just really focusing on surviving. Force Staff, Hood of Defiance, and Glimmer Cake all the magic resist in the world just to prevent himself from getting bursted down. Can't really blame him. This is quite a fair bit away from Boom. Mikado went all in on the Dagons, is saving up for the Aeon Disc next, just to give himself a little bit more survivability, and that's going to be key. They really need Mikado and Kezcute around. Hyde as well, to land their combos off and burst one hero down. That's all they need to find a follow-up, and Boom has not been able to do that.
But they haven't.
Radiant's top tower is under
Still, Boom
attack.
seems a bit confused about what they're doing here, right? But they've kind of been running around the map, smoking up, chasing TNC, but TNC has constantly just avoided them the past 5-10 minutes. Again, they find Mel and he'll TP up.
Is under attack.
KB will TP up, Gabby low, he's been left alone! Gets stunned up! March will cancel his TP, but now the hookshot is in from Kezcute. Soulline comes up, Ice Blast will be with March in trouble, and Gabby will be KB TP.
But
Had March not cancelled that TP in time, that would have been disastrous. However, Dreamers are also going down to the bot lane.
Yeah, it's a better trade for TNC. They find the bigger target in the end. The Dreamo Cell gonna be set back by quite a fair bit, and this is an opening.
FBZ gonna be in trouble. Nice vicious start there onto FBZ. They don't have the Reaper Sight. It was used for the most druid, but they don't need it. They've got the Spirit Vessel, and the damage from Arno isn't up. And now Hyde trying to cancel, trying to TP out, does get cancelled. Will end up dying on picking up a double kill on the Void Spirit. The Roshan has just come up. They've got a double damage rune sitting there. Perfect timing for TNC.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, they've got the Metamorphosis up as well if they wanted to use it there. Just a lot of opportunities here for TNC to build up, and Boom. Man, it's just slowly kind of falling apart for them. The lead grows wider, they're not finding the pickoffs they want. They're gonna have to give this Roche away as well. They could try to hookshot in with Kezcute. It's only him and Mikado, and there's not much you can expect from just two heroes here.
Oh, for sure though, you go for the steal. Like, Kezcute has to try for it, I think. He sees it, but he's got to find a gap, and yeah, no. March is already aware. Does get in there on the high ground, make sure that there's no angles. Tim's is blocking the angles as well here on the side of the Roshan pit.
Extinct.
So you won't bother trying to throw your life away as the clock. TNC now. The Aegis up on Gabby. Still gonna be fairly cautious. They don't. Well, they do actually have meta up, but they don't have the Echo. It's gonna come off cooldown now. Perhaps TNC could opt to just go for a quick smoke play and try and commit that Aegis straight off the bat, considering you do have all those big ultis up.
Yeah, there's nothing that can stop them. Again, Boom has kind of fallen apart here. They need to get the jump in either from Kezcute or FBZ, but every single time they've just been isolated and kind of been chasing around, as you mentioned. So Boom, they need to maybe wait for a few more items on Dreamo Cell. Is building up a lot more in the bear, but it's going to be a slow build up towards the Abyssal here.
Gabby's going to start making his way into that mid lane. He's going to secure that tier 2 mid tower. The backdoor protection, however, not able to get through it. So they'll have to wait for that creep wave.
Radiant's middle
Gabby's
tower.
going to use his illusion to get them.
Radiant's middle tower
Still,
has
TNC
fallen.
are going to wait for a way to try and get into this Tiger, and actually FBZ out of position here, or maybe just baiting. Gabby, Bishop, gonna come out from Kim. Reaper Sight now, but there's a Glimmer Cake there. FBZ is safe. He BKB's up, but it's too much physical damage from Gabby, and now they go back down onto the lone druid. Gabby with the Sparklet just goes down the cliff. Reaper's in big trouble right now. Hookshot from Kezcute, but what an echo. Tim's holding the support back, not allowing any kind of healing, and that'll mean Dreamer Cell will die. We see one buyback, but the rest of the cores on Boom Esports, they don't have buybacks available.
Middle tower is under attack.
That's the GG. That quickly. end up game number 2.
Boom, man, they just gave too much space to Gabby to farm up. It looked like they were finding the early objectives there, but...
Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays.